Okay, it's
Sure.
going. It's going. One more time. The first time, I would like to thank you very much for this interview. And the first question is what you interested in? Why is it important to you, the Kurdish question? Why is it important to you to participate in the Kurdish program here in Israel?
Because for two main reasons. My father is from Kurdish origin, and throughout my studies in Middle East and Islamic studies, I became interested more and more in the Kurdish situation and in Kurdish history, and I've been investigating the Kurdish Jewish history here. So I became more aware and more informed in the Kurdish situation. The second reason is that there is similarity between Israel and Kurdistan, between the state of Israel and the state of Kurdistan, because these two minorities have similar components. They both surrounded by sort of enemies which don't accept them. Arab countries around Israel and Arab countries and Turkish countries and Farsi state around Kurdistan, which are not willing to accept the Kurdish identity and the Kurdish culture, cultural rights and autonomy or any right for statehood. So there is similarity between Israel and Kurdistan. Kurdistan, the Kurds are the biggest minority in the Middle East without their own state. And Israel, it's the only minority, non-Muslim minority in this region of the Middle East, which also is not accepted by its neighbors. So it's very interesting, similar situation for comparison.
I understand. What is the official relationship between Kurdistan, the Kurdish regional government, and between Israel? How can you describe the situation, the political situation?
Officially, there is no relations, there are nothing there, yes. Because it's not yet a state, it's only would be a state, it's yes. Like de facto state. It's going to be sometime in the future independent state, and then when the state will be independent, so something will be going on between these two states. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, already said that he would support the independence of Kurdistan when it will be announced. So that's one thing to indicate that there is a positive vibes towards the Kurdish independence here.
Why is it important for Israel that Kurdistan is gonna be and should be an independence country? Why do you support? Because many countries don't support Kurdistan.
Because I think it comes from both countries have similar interests, and as I explained before, there is similarities. They both are rejected by the neighbors. How come every country, especially big minority like Kurdistan, like the Kurds, are entitled for their own independence? You were to Kurdistan. I was in Kurdistan, I was in Iraqi Kurdistan, and I saw that in Kurdistan there are Kurds from Iran, Kurds from Syria, yes. Kurds from Turkey. It's like safe haven for all the Kurds from all over, from the diaspora, from the other countries. So the Kurds don't have their own state. It's something very basic, very elementary to have a statehood for the Kurdish people. So I think it's, first of all, on the moral level, they are entitled for it. Second, because of the similar situation, many people feel sympathy for the Kurds because of the political situation and the historical situation in the Middle East, as I explained.
Your answer was, before one question, that it's not official relationship between Israel and Kurdish regional government. But what about the unofficial relationship? Can we talk about a couple of sentences? Is it possible?
Well, yes, there is a lot of interest, a lot of curiosity in Kurdistan. First of all, there are many Kurdish people here, Jewish Kurds, who like Kurdistan. They like the culture, they like the food, they like the heritage, they were from there, so they go back sometimes for visits, for trips, and there is sympathy between the people. And in the 60s, in the 70s, Israel used to help the Kurds when in the biggest rebellion against Saddam Hussein
Yes.
by Mullah Mustafa Barazani. So Israel really helped them militarily and in some other ways. So there is like almost a blood connection between the two countries, between the two entities. So, so there is some historical background and some curiosity, and as I said, mutual interests.
We talk about the Kurdish community here in Israel.
Yes.
Can you share a couple of details about the Kurdish community, numbers, life here, quality, relationship with the government, the minority authorities? Please explain us.
Well, the Kurdish community doesn't exist as a community because, you know, in Israel, when a community is blended within everybody, so what is left? Some language characteristics, you know, Kurdish or Aramaic, food, dancing, music, some heritage. There's no community because in Israel everybody, people from Hungary came, so the language is staying, the food, but the community is no longer, within several years, it dissolves, you know? So it's the same. So what we have here is like more or less heritage, history, but the community doesn't exist so much. And we're talking about maybe 100, 150,000 people of Kurdish Jews or people from Kurdish origin.
What do you think? Is it possible that your Prime Minister talk about that you support to be an independent country, Kurdistan? What is your opinion? Maybe the new administration is coming in America after the election, after November. Maybe the Israeli Prime Minister, the Israeli government can make a couple of lobby for Kurdistan to be an independent. What is your opinion about it?
First of all, the Kurdish people or the Kurdish leadership think that Israel could lobby anything.
Yes.
Yes, that's one thing. But I don't know, because America or the State Department has different they have opinion according to the situation with Turkey or with NATO. So it doesn't always dictate its policies according to what should be, but according to its interest. Therefore, sometimes the Kurdish people are disappointed from the policy of the American State Department. But we'll have to see who will be the president, if it will change. And we'll have also to see if the Kurdish people, the Kurdish leadership will announce its independence. So far, they have been talking about declaring the independence and maybe making a referendum to see what the people think and if the people would like it or not. But they haven't done it yet, because they are also have some, they are really worried about it. What would be a response of Turkey, of Erdogan? What would be a response of other countries in the region? Because as I said in the beginning, the countries, the neighboring countries, are not so sympathetic for the idea of Kurdish independence.
Your main topic is the Middle East.
Yes.
If we talk about the Syrian situation, how is it affect for Kurdistan and the Peshmergas? How they can affect to the ISIS and the situation now in Syria? How can you describe this situation now?
Well, in Syria, the Kurdish people have also managed to gain almost independence in the region where they are located, to be engaged in warfare against ISIS, to manage to control the region quite autonomously, in an autonomy, and manage to engage in good relations with the Kurds of Iraq, and with the neighboring powers. So for the first time, also in Syria, we have emerging power of Kurds. And this is after we have in the KRG in Iraq. So we have the KRG in Iraq, we have the Kurds of Syria, we have a problem with the Kurds of Turkey, which are oppressed by Erdogan these days for many years. And we have a problem with the Kurds of Iran, which also haven't had any chance to express their autonomy or human rights or cultural rights. So the situation in Kurdistan, when you think about it, you have to think about all these countries where the Kurds exist as minorities. So we have a positive feature in Iraq, positive feature in Syria, but not so good in Turkey and in Iran. So the situation in Kurdistan is still evolving. It's not yet a state, you know. There are two would-be autonomies,
Yes.
you know, but there are other two countries which the Kurdish situation is very bad.
Very bad and very complicated. There is a new point that for me is very complicated. That many Kurdish tribes or many Kurdish family are in Syria, and they are together with the Bashar al-Assad, and many Kurdish family or tribes together with the rebels.
Yes.
For me, it's complicated. Explain me. How is it work? How is it managed? It's very complicated for me.
Yes, it's a very good point, because the Middle East is a tribal society. And if you don't understand it, you miss a big chunk of understanding, of comprehension of the region, because tribal society dictates sometimes different loyalties, and you go according to your tribe. You go according to the policy of the tribe rather than to the policy, your own policy, or the policy of the state. So the tribe decides that it has an interest to go with Bashar al-Assad, and the other tribe, just because it's a rival for this tribe, would go against it. So it has to be understood in the context of tribal relations. The Middle East is a countries not with flags but also with tribes. You have to understand the tribal codes, the tribal rulings, the tribal rules. These are, they dictate relation towards women, relations between men and women, dignity, honor codes. All these kind of things are dictated from the tribal ruling. Today you can go to the desert. You have, you can see Bedouins with the newest Mercedes, and with the satellite TV, they can see the whole world. But and everything's so new, and the newest telephone, smartphone, but inside their tent, their tribal codes, tribal ruling, tribal ideas still dictate their day-to-day living. You have to understand it. And if people don't come to the Middle East, they don't come to the desert, they don't come, they don't realize it, because what they see on TV, it's one thing. But you have to be aware for the tribal ideas. And this is why your point is very important. It's very difficult to understand the Middle East without understanding the tribal ruling, the tribal ideas.
Okay, when we talk about the Syria, and thank you very much, it was very interesting to me. When we talk about the Syria, the biggest problem for us in Europe, and I guess it's interested in also very important in Israel, the refugees question. What is your opinion about the refugees? Because the Syrian war is can't stop the big empires, you know, very complicated situation with America, with Russia, with Turkey also. But the biggest problem is these 4, 5, 6 million refugees. What is your opinion about it?
Well, it is clear that Europe is not ready, hasn't been ready to tackle the refugee crisis, right? This is one thing. Second, they are not really, they don't really know how to solve this problem, because they are stuck with the problem. The refugees are here, they can't swallow it and they can't throw it out, okay? If you understand what I'm saying. And third, the crisis, the refugee crisis, is another expression of the dissolvement, of the changing character of the Middle East. The map of the Middle East is changing. The countries are torn apart. Iraq, Syria, other countries, Libya, other countries are really torn apart, and the people are running away from their home, from their home after 100 years, and now the map is going to change. Not only the geographical map, also the human map, which means the refugees. So Europe will have to find solution either with Turkey or with other countries, with Greece, or with the bordering country to Turkey, European, East European. Something will have to be solved. It will take many years for this refugee crisis to be solved in the ultimate and satisfying way. Many years.
Do you work here, or do you thinking about the solution of the refugees crisis? Maybe because you have a very good relationship, not you, your government, Israel has a very good relationship with East European and European countries. Do you thinking about the solution about the refugees question?
Well,
or sometimes speaking about it, what is the official opinion about it?
I'm not sure about the official, but I tell you, if there is a willingness to solve the refugee problem, if some countries are willing to accept them, it will be possible. Because Israel is a country that absorbed refugees in magnitude of 2 or 3 times the size of the state within short time. So we have the experience. You know, we wanted to accept the Jewish refugees and to allow them to live here and to work and to be established. The question if it exists in Europe, if some countries in Europe will be willing to accept the refugees, like Germany or other countries, they will be willing to do so, they will do it. But then it will change also, as I said, the human map of Europe. The Islamic components, the Muslim components that will affect the cultural heritage of Europe maybe forever. So these are things to consider.
Mm-hmm. I guess we are finished.
Thank you.
Okay, let me tell you this. Okay, I would like to thank you very much for this interview, and I hope so we can continue maybe next year or after we come back. And thank you very much again.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just make sure to send me the interview.
I will send you the link of the TV when we put.
No, you can send me the interview.
All of the interview, yeah.
You're not going to put all of it.
No.
You're going to edit it.
It's going to be a 10 minutes report.
Okay.
We recorded 17 minutes, and I will edit it for